Today on Toypixx, reviewing the MAFEX Bane to find out
if you have my permission to buy.
Nobody ever actually said I could do impressions. Remember, everything you see in the video will be available via affiliate links in the description below.
Consume!
Yeah. Still not good at that impression. At the end of the video, comment below with whatever big figures you'd like to see MAFEX tackle next. And now, on to Bane! Yeah, I'm gonna stop. Alright, it's detail time, and detailed this bad boy is. Check out first, let's just look at the skin tone going on here, where he's got just this crazy amount of shading going on inside all the little crevasses. It looks so good, and in person, man oh man, it looks even better. Now, the skin and the leotard kind of deal, his little outfit, they look a lot shinier than they are under normal lights. These are the studio lights, so don't worry, you're going to be okay when it comes to taking photos. But yeah, just that little bit of detail in the skin is just crazy. And then we come down to the belt, where all this silver going on is a nice shiny silver. He's also got it going on his little gauntlet here, where the Venom goes in, as well as the hose that sends the Venom in. See if I can focus on that a little bit better for you. Yeah, so there it is going on, still on the belt. Do this a bit so you can see there's still a lot of shine going on up top there. Yeah, this is nice. They did really great detail work on that silver. It looks good and shiny, exactly how you would expect it to be. Something I really appreciate when we get down to the boots is the boots themselves are good and shiny, but the soles are a lot more matte. So they paid attention to the finish in a big way when it comes to the big guy here. See if we can focus in on those soles a little better. There you go. Yeah, I mean, they did their homework. And of course I went and missed some silver going on his knuckles. It's all good and shiny. As for the outfit itself, it's good and flat black, which is nice. It's also raised ever so slightly, so this stuff isn't just painted on, ladies and gentlemen. This is how MAFEX does their thing. And it is glorious on this guy. Let's see if we can see it. You can kind of see it right there. Right along the ridge of his chest there. How you can see that it's raised just a little bit. MAFEX doing the good stuff. The good work for us. And of course, Bane's got a pretty serious head to go along with all that stuff. You can see how well that's sculpted going on there. You can see the hoses attached to the back of it, which is really nice. Nice, smooth luchador mask going on. That's right, I kinda got a term right. Go me! So you can see the paint's really nice on there. It's all raised. You got glossy red eyes in the mask. They just did a really good job on this thing when it comes to the details. I'm a big fan. Something else I missed when I was talking about the clothes is how wrinkled we all are, well, at least Bane is, in that area there, right around the thighs. So yeah, man, this thing, I think they really paid attention and they just decided, you know what, we're making a big dude, we better do this right. Next up, we've got accessories. Now, you can see that I left Bane's fists on there. And here are probably the most chill hands he comes with. Those are kind of his relaxed hands. Also has the silver knuckles going on all these. Then he's got some big-time pointers. And then some nice chopping hands, because remember, without the Venom, and I suppose with it too, Bane is a formidable fighter. He is indeed a martial artist. Bane's got some pretty serious gripping hands. Look at the angle of those. Whoa, do not let him reach out and touch you, ladies and gents. And then here's some wider open gripping hands for, you know, maybe grabbing a leg, grabbing a shoulder, maybe picking up Batman by his head. Oh, and before I get to the last real accessory, here's the MAFEX stand that he comes with that will go right in my drawer full of stands. The final accessory is this slightly angrier Bane head, but it's not the whole head. It's simply a faceplate, so I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the easiest way I've found to do this is to first pop off his head. So you've got it kind of hanging by a thread. I shouldn't talk. And then you hold on to both halves and just kind of wiggle it apart. There you go, there's the back of it. There's that faceplate. Now you take this one and just pop it on there, which is of course way easier said than done when I'm on camera. There we go. Alright, it's on. And then just pop it back on his head. And there you go. Somewhat angrier Bane. Alright, I guess it's that time. It's time to get into my most thorough articulation section ever, because frankly, this guy's kind of a big deal. You'll see just how big in the size comparisons. Jokes. Anyway, we'll start with the head. Obviously, you're going to get plenty of left to right, and what's nice is this cord doesn't seem to get in the way of any kind of movement. So that's pretty good stuff. You can get plenty of the old tilt going on, plenty of attitude, and then we can get him looking up about that much. We can get him looking down. I mean, he basically buries his head into his chest. He can't go much further than that because, well, he can't bury his head actually into his chest. Here are his arms going ever so slightly better than a full T-pose. Now let's play with his shoulder ever so slightly. Here it is. Up, pretty much pushed in as far as it can go. His arm's about as straight as you're going to be able to get it. But now we pull it out ever so slightly. It can go up. It can go down. And as far as the butterfly is concerned, we can get about that. Nothing too crazy, but it is there. And then going forward, we've got that using the butterfly. And let's see if we can focus. There we go. So nothing too crazy. It's still pretty straight, but what it will allow him to do later is also do all this stuff, so he can kind of go across his head and all that for your posing, which is always nice. Now, obviously, he's going to have bicep swivel, but these are big biceps. They're going to run into the body. He's not going to get him to go forever all the way around, but that's alright. That would look weird anyway. There you go there, going pretty far back. But yeah, this is a big boy, so you're not going to get tons out of that, but you are going to get enough, at least in my opinion. Now here's where the good stuff happens. Check that out. Now oftentimes we get bigger figures and you can't get past 90, and I always wonder why that is when they say the smaller figures, their limbs are too thin to really go double jointed and all that stuff. But then I think, but why don't the bigger figures all get a little further going? Maybe it's the fact that their forearms weigh too much, I don't know. Anyway, all that to say, we get pretty good range on that elbow. We've got the same wrist on Bane that so many other MAFEX figures have, where you can just make it go forward and back, turn the hand, and go with the dice a little bit so it can go up and down. Basically, you get the vertical and the horizontal. Using the waist and the diaphragm joint, there's how much of a bend you get. And using the waist and diaphragm joint, you get that much bend going towards the back, but you get a pretty serious gap going up front if you go that far as well. And that's what you get as far as a forward lean is concerned. You don't get quite as much of a gap going on in the back there when you do that. Heading toward the legs, he's got the drop down, which then allows him to kick pretty close to 90. Let's try and straighten that out so we get a good accurate measure there. I'd say close, not quite 90 degrees, and that's with the drop down. Now if you push the drop down up, he does get considerably less. See, for some figures it does feel like the drop down might be a waste, but for Bane here, I think it's pretty big time. I think it works pretty well. We can get a thigh twist. I'd say we've got a pretty decent bend at the knee. As for the feet, they don't seem to go back very far, but they go forward a little bit better. And then for the old rock, we got some going out there. We got a little bit coming in. It's not too crazy, but I think it'll work considering this guy's pretty big dude. And finally, there's what the toes can do. As for how well I think this guy is gonna photograph for you, holy crap, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is just, quite literally, an upscaled MAFEX figure. Sure, he's got a little bit less range, like the elbows don't go quite as far as it does on, or as they do, on a lot of MAFEX figures. His thigh doesn't go up quite as high as it does on a lot of MAFEX figures, but aside from that, this guy is very literally just a huge MAFEX figure with all the great articulation that we've all come to expect from MAFEX. It's a very cool thing, and I'm really happy about that because none of us were sure how MAFEX was going to be able to handle that. On top of that, the finishes are perfect on this thing. The way the flesh tone is done, the way the little leotard and the pants are done are very flat. The shininess on the silver's awesome. The glossiness that he's got going on his eyes is sweet. The silver on his hands is perfect. It's shiny like it should be. Belt, boots are good and shiny. Hold on, let's get these in focus. I want you to see these boots again. I'm not sure I did a great job before. Look at that. It's a crazy shiny boot and a crazy dull sole, which is just ridiculously good detail. So yeah, the finishes are there, the articulation's there, he's got all the accessories you need for a Bane. So if I were to say whether or not I think you're going to be able to use this guy really effectively for your toy photos, yeah, I'm giving him a very, very easy pass. As in a passing grade, not as in a pass on Bane. Don't be passing on me. That was a terrible Bane impression. And now, we've got some size comparisons. Now let's get the one you all want to see out of the way first. Here we have Bane with the Medicom MAFEX Night Crusader Batman. I realize he can't be Knightfall because that was Azrael, as well as the MAFEX Hush Batman, because why not? For some added Rogues Gallery fun, here we have Bane next to the MAFEX Hush Joker, as well as the MAFEX Hush Harley Quinn. And now for a marvelous good time, here we have Bane next to the Medicom MAFEX comic suit Spider-Man, as well as the comic Iron Man. Here's Bane next to Valaverse's Action Force Duster and Action Force Eclipse. Here's Bane next to the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Duke and the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Scarlett. Now we have Jaded Toys Street Fighter II Ultra Fei Long and Chun-Li joining the party. And finally, because why not, here's Bane next to NECA's Eastman and Laird's Red Shirt Casey Jones and Raphael. As for my overall thoughts on this guy, yeah, go get him. He's really, really rad. So, what's going on here is this is a big MAFEX figure, and they haven't done a really large MAFEX figure since they did a Hulkbuster Iron Man from the MCU way back when, so I didn't know how well this would come out. What happened was we got an absolutely incredible work of MAFEX art in front of us. And so now I sit there and I'm thinking, man, what can they do next? They could go a little bigger and make Doomsday, go a little bigger maybe and make Darkseid, go just a touch bigger and make Thanos, go quite a bit bigger and make Hulk. Like, there's so many things that I can see MAFEX being able to do now because they tested those larger figure comic waters with this Bane, and they passed that test with absolutely flying colors. This figure gets a complete recommendation, and that's not just because I love a lot of MAFEX stuff, that's because this figure is just that good. Plus, this guy's gonna look and move remarkably well under your lights and in front of your lens. So, back to my original point, yeah, go get him. Something I forgot to mention in those overall thoughts is this. True to what MAFEX often does, I never again have to buy another Knightfall Bane. Check! Don't forget to comment below and let me know what's the next big figure you want to see MAFEX tackle. As always, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to check out today's video. It's always massively appreciated. So until next time, have fun and happy snapping. See ya. Man, I was thinking about it, and they could do Darkseid, they could do Thanos, they could do Hulk, they could do Doomsday, and then I thought about it more, and we've got She-Hulk, we've got Titania, we've got Solomon Grundy. There's so many great comic figures they could do that are huge, not to mention huge figures from other properties. Holy jeez, ladies and gentlemen, really, MAFEX can do no wrong. Okay, scratch that. They did make Mini Thor.